right? I'm truly humbled. Started my career when I was just 16 years old. Started learning myself, and 17 was when I started getting some projects. I started my career as a designer. Self-taught myself as how to write pieces of code. Ended up building up some few projects, and that's when I was 18 and a half, 19. I found out a huge issue with WordPress, and I think WordPress was just starting up, and there was a lot of security issues. So I was one of the first person to build up a WordPress security plugin back in those days, and ended up doing over like $300,000 in a matter of like this few months. Um, then again, as a teenager, I didn't know what to do, so sort of like moved on. I had one partner back then, so I told him like, "Hey, take over the project. I don't need anything. I got the money. I made my money. I made my share of money." So I decided to move on from there. Decided to kept on freelancing, and again was learning, was also doing my education, was in college at the same time. Then got into masters, and decided to drop out in my first year because I already started working on my first like actual like real startup, which was known as Power Up Hosting. Back then, when I dropped out after my first year of my masters, I found my co-founder online while working on the first project itself. So he told me that Udit, just fly down to Los Angeles and we'll have a lot of fun over here. We'll build something incredible. And coming from like a typical Marwari background, like my parents were more like, no, degree le lo, get a degree first. Yeah. So I didn't want to do because I knew that most of the college education is pretty terrible. But I was still like, okay, like since the parents are pushing, let me do it. But then I think that was the worst year. I still regret that I wasted the entire year because when I got into and entered the very first, my very first PHP practical session, my professor told me and to everyone that, hey, look, I don't know PHP, right? Udit and the other guy knows it. So if you have any questions, go and ask them. And I was like, why the heck am I paying all my hard-earned money that I've earned to pay to teach others, right? And somehow I managed to complete my first year, and I was like, I'm done with this. Got my business visa and flew down to US. Traveled back and forth for almost good 3 years. Built up my business over there. We were primarily dealing with a lot of SaaS companies, a lot of VPN companies over there, and that's where my interest for SaaS kind of like started peeking in. Like I was so intrigued with the business model, how things were. And anyways, I started my project career as a software, as a WordPress plugin, which is software. So that kept me going. And while I was growing things, Power Up Hosting grew to over $1 million in revenue in a matter of less than a year of time. And while the money was great, everything was great, I was still not very happy, right? Like, it's the money part that sort of like excites you all the time. So that's when I ended up building up my second project, which turned out to be a company, and it was known as GoPWin. Took it to over $1 million over again. And then again, it came to a point where the company became very saturated because I didn't know that I was tapping into a very niche and a very sub-niche market inside SEO, to a point where we had captured over like 57% of the market share in less than a year's time. And there was very hard to crack in any further market share from there. After like my frustration, because I'm a very growth person, I need growth, right? If I don't get growth, I get very stagnated as a human, and I'm like, something happens to me. Like I just don't become normal at any point of stage. So that's where like decided to start working on my third project while the first two projects were going on great. It kept on driving all the revenue, but my third project failed very badly due to multiple reasons, due to wrong CTO, wrong management. A lot of things went wrong where I ended up losing about $200,000, and my graph sort of went from like in a very linear upward direction to like zero. While these two projects were going on, they saw a massive dip in the revenue at the same time because AWS came into picture, Google Cloud came into picture, and they started giving $100,000 in revenue. So the SaaS companies that we were dealing with and the VPN companies that we were dealing with started canceling with us and started moving over there. And that's when I was already in depression because of my previous failure. And then there was a dip of business that taught me not to do too many things at the same time. Focus is very critical. And when that started happening, I was in a very heavy depression. And then what happened was there were already these projects that were needed to be managed, while I started focusing on building PitchGround, and then decided that I'm going to sell off these two projects. So finally made an exit from both of those projects, and at the same time was completely focusing on PitchGround. And PitchGround, after that massive dip, took to a whole new level. And today, in just 3.5 years of PitchGround, we have done over $6 million in revenue. We are bootstrapped. We are profitable. We have built a team of 25 plus people, remote. So sometimes, like your hardcore lessons, your hard life teaches you so much. It helps you to grow to a whole new level. So again, have success in building SaaS, have success in failing SaaS, and now we are consulting and building a whole PitchGround where we just deal with SaaS companies, because I want to make sure that what I went through in my previous project, the amount of money that I lost and that led to the depression, I want to make sure that this doesn't happen to any other SaaS founders or any other SaaS companies, because a lot of SaaS founders who come and who get into SaaS come with a lot of hope that my idea is going to make it, right? But as per statistics, as per Lighter Capital, 92% of the SaaS companies tank out in the first 3 years of their business. This number is astonishing because SaaS as an industry is over a $200 billion industry. That is an unlisted market cap. The listed market cap is probably over $1 trillion, right? If we talk about Intuitive, if you talk about like all of the other SaaS companies combined, Zendesk, Slack, if you combine all of them, right? Zoom, Shopify, it's probably over a $1 trillion industry, a $1 trillion market cap already. So an unlisted market cap of almost 200 billion, out of which about 92% is failing and seeing losses. Imagine the amount of like losses that are happening. Imagine what the founders are probably going through when a company shuts down. It's not easy, right? It's not easy to deal with the failures. And that's where the birth of PitchGround comes into picture, where we're trying our level best to change those statistics to a point that 220 companies have come and launched on PitchGround till date. And out of those 120 companies, 80% of the companies have succeeded, out of which 15% of the companies have raised capital successfully after showing the growth of PitchGround as a platform. So that's just a bit of how we have been doing, how we have been helping out SaaS companies to our platform, and how SaaS companies are really growing, sustaining, raising capital, and just growing overall. And that just makes me very happy with the mission that I started with has been succeeding. Now, what we're trying to do is hit that 92% success rate. So we're trying to flip that ratio of 92% failure to 92% success rate. And that's something that we are working on. So we're just 12% away to hit that. So we're constantly trying to innovate in terms of how companies can reach to new users for as low CAC as possible, while also increasing their overall revenue and statistics, basically. So that's just a bit of my story and what I have done for the last 13, 14 years as my professional career.
Wow, that's a lot of work you've done, Udit. I think there should be a movie about your ups and downs. I think you've seen it all, it seems. So great. But I think that's where I think all these lessons make us what we are. And I think definitely PitchGround, what it is today, must have not been possible. If it was like without these lessons, possibly, because that's what at the time. Yeah. So Udit, tell us more about probably let's say start from say building a SaaS company. We'll do it in a chronological order, probably, like starting with the idea and then moving towards building it out or marketing it and so on. So I'd like to know your thoughts more about, let's say, if we were to consider a hypothetical situation, let's say there's a founder who has an idea. So what are some of the things or a checklist or tips and tricks you want them to do, say, in the first 30 days or 90 days before they go too deep with their investment of both time and money?
Oh, that's a great question, Aish. To begin with, and this is something I've told multiple times, focus on your ideation stage. So what that means is see if people are ready to pay you during your idea stage, right? So this is something that I've suggested to a lot of people in the past and they have seen a lot of success out of it, is whenever you have an idea, first try to validate your idea. Without validating your idea, do not move forward, because while you think that it is revolutionary, a competitor is doing millions and millions of dollars, not necessarily that you will be able to make the same. So first, try to validate your idea. Now there are some very simple hacks and strategies that you can do. Just set up a simple landing page, right? All you need is a WordPress. Just select any template. Worst case, just go on the theme store and just select a free template. Done, right? Use a free element or plugin and just set up a simple landing page that talks about the problem that you're solving and along with an early bird pricing that you're willing to offer. Once you do that, start spreading it across on your social media, and do a product hunt ship. Just get a $79 subscription and just put it up on product hunt ship. And at the same time, the second thing that you can potentially do is spend about $100 on Google ads or Facebook ads, right? When you're doing Google ads, you can use YouTube ads. Just create a small ad and then start using placement ads on your competitors' videos. Once you do that, and once you spend about $200, right, which is hardly about 14,000 or 15,000 Indian rupee, see how many signups you're getting from it, right? And at the same time, make sure that you have installed things like Hotjar, so that you can evaluate, right? You can see how much people are understanding the problem, and you can constantly tweak the ideas. Now, also at the same time, make sure that you use any sort of optimizing plugin, so something like Optimizely, right, where you can split test your copies as well. See how you can change your copies, and then at the same time understand what makes it easier for people to understand the problem that you're solving and whether they are ready to sign up for it. Trust me, people do. If they have a problem, they're desperate to pay for it, right? So now anyone who's in the session, right, one of the biggest reasons why you're in this session is because you want to learn more, or else you would have probably been chilling out or watching Netflix or just focusing on your business. But that's not the case. You are here because you want to learn something new. You want to learn something different, right? So there are people out there. You just need to focus on finding those people. Now, once you do that, get them on a call and tell them, hey, I would give you the absolute best deal for this software. All I need is 15 to 30 minutes of your time. And I just need to understand a bit more about your business and what problems you're facing. Don't talk about your solution at all, because they would know that, hey, you're already trying to sell them too much, right? Don't do that. Just get them on a call and understand their problem and write the notes. Now, what you need to do is focus on getting 100 signups in total. And out of those 100 signups, you'll potentially get about 20 to 30 people on a call. Now, you make sure that you're already setting up an autoresponder, because when you do that, an email will be sent out to those people right away, which means that since you already have their attention, you might as well as try to get them on a call, right? Again, do not use a direct embedded calendar link, because that's just too many steps. Make it simple initially, and then sort of like get them in the funnel loop, right? Because there's a chance that if you just put up a direct calendar link, they might not sign up directly. Do that. Now, once you have done that, get them on a call and write down the common problem statements that everyone is sharing, right? Also, at the same time, ask them how big is the problem, because once you get to understand how big the problem is, you know how much you can potentially make out of them. This means this will help you with your pricing strategy later on. So let's say that if I'm telling you that this is my problem and I'm willing to pay you $1,000, right? Because I need to get this solved. Because if I'm ready to pay $1,000 for this problem, that means that I'm probably going to make over $10,000, $15,000 from this problem statement once it gets solved. This will help you identify and see how you can price them, because if you price it way too under, people will call it a cheap service. If you price it way too expensive, people are not going to sign up. So again, finding that pricing balance is very critical in SaaS, and that also helps you with the product market fit. It's a matter of people skipping and buying your service. It's that important, right? That is how critical your pricing strategy should be. So this will help you understand. The more you understand about people's problem and how big that problem is in terms of money, in terms of their money statement, the easier it would be for you to price your product. Now, you don't need to copy your competitor and just price it exactly the same way. Do not do that. You can keep it expensive provided your solution is better. And when I say it's better, it doesn't have to be more features than what your competitor is providing. What you are doing is you're solving it in a better way with limited features, because having 10,000 features doesn't mean people are going to use the entire 10,000 features, right? All they need is those 4 features to automate their problem, and that's it. You just focus on those 4. Now, when you have all of these problem statements, you will also be able to build a very precise MVP. Instead of trying to figure out what to build in an MVP, you would be exactly building the features and solutions that your users are suffering from, and that is what you get on the call. Now, even before building the MVP, right? Tell your users, hey, would you be willing to pay $1 for this problem? right? Now, there is a difference between someone saying, I'm going to pay you, and someone actually taking out the credit card and paying. Now, whether it's $1 or $100, it doesn't matter. If someone is willing to take out $1 and take out the credit card, that means there is a trust. They have started trusting you, and that's when they are taking out the credit card. Now, when you get to this stage where people are ready to pay you, so let's say you get 100 such people on call. This is my ideology that I came up with. If you get 100 people on call, and out of those 100 people, if only 30 people pay, the chances of your SaaS to succeed is only 30%. If 60 people out of call pays you, your chances of success is 60%. Now you have to make sure that it goes above 50% before you take the bet of building the product. If that doesn't happen, just refund that $1 to everyone and move on, because you have now successfully saved over hundreds and thousands of dollars on development. This is how you validate your idea, right? Now, if those 70% or 50% of people are not paying, try to understand why they were not paying. Again, try to get them on a call again. Again, spend more time on ideation. Don't spend your time on development, because trust me, once you start developing, there is never going back, because SaaS is a very money hungry driven business. You have to inject so much capital during the initial stages before you start seeing returns. Sometimes it can take 3 to 5 years, just like any other business. SaaS is exactly the same way, because developers are way too expensive, and it's only getting more and more expensive because people know their worth today. People find it a lot more easier to find a job in a SaaS company today because of the remote culture, remote work, and all the things that are happening in remote, and they are able to get a job in US, Europe, just sitting in India. So those days are gone, right? When you can just get someone for like utterly cheap. Those days are really gone. So again, before diving into development, this is why spend even 2 months if you have to in this stage, right? Because this will save you a huge amount of money. Your time is gone, but the amount of money that it would save you would be astonishing. So this is how you validate your idea stage, and this is how you build your proper MVP. Because now that you know what exactly to build, just build your MVP and right away focus on hitting the pre-product market fit. So what I mean by pre-product market fit, this is again a word that I keep working on and I've came up with, is hitting a point where your developer's cost gets covered by the early stage users. That's where you hit pre-product market fit. Once you do that, now you know that, okay, at least your developer cost is being taken care of. You are not going to be putting money from your own pocket at that stage, right? Now you can start spending more time on trying to go out there and look for similar of these 50 or 100 people who have paid you, right? Start looking for more such people, and then keep on testing your pricing. So charge someone $20 per month, charge someone $50 per month, right? Don't put up your pricing on the website right now, because you need to take a very salesy approach during the initial stages. Don't take a very hardcore marketing approach. It's not going to work, I'm telling you. Because people buy, when it comes to marketing, people buy from brands. People don't buy from a company. Remember that. No one knows your story. No one cares about your story initially. So focus on just selling, not marketing. Again, understand the difference between both of them. Just focus out there, outreach as much as you can, right? And then just go out there and sell more and more and more and more. Do not build features too quickly. Also remember that, right? If your customers are demanding for too many features, put up in the roadmap, hey, when it's out, right? Do not push on building too many features. Again, I'm telling you, you're going to get into that very hard loop of building things for just 1 or 2% versus the rest of the 98% doesn't want it. And SaaS doesn't work on building features for 1-2 users. It works on building a global level of features. This is how you get started with. This is how you can save yourself a nightmare. This is how you can get going with. And this is how you can really increase your chances of getting into that 8% and move away from that 92%. So do things the right way from the start. Do not make those mistakes that I did. And again, this has been helping out a lot of companies. Just implement this. And again, the worst to worst case scenario is you going to lose like only 15,000 rupees. That's absolutely peanuts to what you can potentially make. in terms of idea. So Ayush, that's a bit of like how someone can get started.
Yeah, that's definitely a lot. In fact, I mean, in terms of, I think, a really nice direction. I mean, I was definitely taking notes, and I think our audience is also taking notes, because I think there was a pretty good step-to-step approach, right from thinking about the idea and setting up your landing page and testing it out and everything. So, quick follow-up question with it, like you mentioned about setting up your landing page and setting up, say, analytics or Hotjar, etc. For testing, like reaching out to users, is there any other tools that you would like to mention? Because I kind of missed that when I was
So
getting.
you can use any outreaching tool, nothing too specific. Just Google outreaching tools. You just go on G2. You'll find plenty of them because people have their own preferences. Again, use whatever you want. It doesn't matter. The idea is to outreach basically. The idea is to just reach out to more people, right? Idea is to put up a product hunt ship page, because what happens with product hunt ship is it doesn't cost you anything more than $79 per month, and it gets you in the product hunt ship page, which is like upcoming page, right? So if someone is interested in the idea, they'll be like, hey, I'm interested, right? So just start getting on a call with them as soon as possible, because again, you want to spend time when they just click, they're available. That's the time to get in touch with them and ask for just 15 minutes. The call might get extended to 30 minutes, which is okay, right? But if you ask for a bigger commitment, like 30 minutes to 1 hour, that's a big no. People are going to say, hey, look, I don't even know you. I'm not interested in that big of a call. So 15 minutes, that's it. Spend that much time. And I think that is going to be a very good start for you.
There's always this question about how many people you should really reach out to. So sometimes some theory would say like 5 people is enough. Sometimes someone would say you should interview like 100 at least or something. Have you found any sweet spot around that? And what could be the right way to get feedback? Because let's say getting on a call, I think you beautifully solved it. But again, I'm thinking of another problem for founders, that what to really ask, or what are the right questions to really know that you actually get the right answers. Because unless you have the right questions, you may end up just understanding something else.
So firstly, Ayush, one has to understand who their potential customers are for that problem, right? So let's take an example of, let's say if I want to build an outreaching tool, I'm going to give you a practical example. But there are just too many out there. I don't know how I would differentiate. I want to build it, but I want to first validate the idea. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to look up in my email inbox. I get so many outreaching emails, right? I'm just going to respond back to them asking, hey, what tool do you use? Like, your emails are incredible. I would love to understand a bit more about the software that you use. Again, the problem and the answer and the customer is sitting right inside my email box. I don't even need to look for outside, right? You have to be creative when it comes to finding out where your customers are hiding. And this time I gave an example because they're hiding in my inside box. Because again, I get so many emails. Everyone gets outreaching emails. That's your target audience. Simple. Why do you want to spend money looking for them? So in this case, what I'm going to do is just going to hit back, right? And I'm going to ask them, hey, let's get on a call. It's okay. You try to explain me my problem, and I'm going to give you 10 minutes for that. In the last 5 minutes, I'm going to pitch. Hey, like, what tool did you use, by the way? Like, I would love to know, like, what you're using internally. Same 15 minutes. Be smart in terms of flipping the questions, right? Interacting and building that relationship. Now, go into your spam folder, reach out to everyone. You have the leads in front of you. Get on a call. Again, just make a soft introduction and ask them what they're using, why they're using. Because when you start having a conversation, you need to have the sales ability to flip the question and take charge of the conversation. That's very important for anyone, right? If you're founding a company, if you're not a good salesperson, first become a good salesperson and then get into SaaS. That's very critical. So get a sales job in any of the SaaS companies. Work there for at least good 2 years before getting and building up your own SaaS. This is very important. If you are a developer, then I would say first look out for a co-founder who can do sales very well. If you cannot find them, don't get into SaaS right away. I'm telling you, you're going to struggle to sell a lot. People think that if I build something, people will buy. That doesn't happen, right? By the time we even end up having this discussion, there's already 3 or more SaaS that have been launched, by the way, right? So you have to understand that there are just too many SaaS being built right now, and especially with so many no-code tools out there, the SaaS are like popping up like anything today. So just make sure you do that. So you have to again identify, but again, if you're not building an outreaching, I'm going to take one more example so people get like more idea. So let's take an example that you're trying to build and you're trying to solve a problem for webinar registration pages, right? So in this case, what you need to do is you need to go and see, first of all, what kind of companies are doing webinars. So typically it's not one person army. It's not 1 or 2% company that does webinar, because they don't even know about how to set one up, right? It's usually companies that have a team size of 10, 15 plus people. Now, once you identify that, grab down and niche it down further. What kind of companies are doing events more? It's SaaS companies today. They are the ones who are doing the maximum amount of events, online events today, because they sell online. What are the second kind of other people that are doing? It's those people who are selling courses, right? People, again, identify your audience. It's very important to understand who your audience is. You have to have a very high level of clarity with regards to that. Now, have those 3-4 different options, right? And then start with one. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to like nail it down to people who are selling courses, because education sells a lot faster than SaaS. So they might have a lot more money to spend than SaaS companies. And I want people who will get closed in 3 to 5 days. I don't want to follow up with people for a month and then have a closure. I want an attribution rate of 3 to 5 days. That's it. So I'm going to niche it down, right, initially. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a specific landing page for them on my website saying that, hey, webinar solution for content creators or course creators. Now, when I do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign up for their course, right? Now, if I'm smart enough, I'm going to start looking out for people who are selling their courses for cheap. Sign up for the course and pay them $20, $30, buy their course and get their attention. This is a way to buy the lead. Instead of going out there and trying to buy a lead, you're getting direct attention by paying 2,000 INR, right? 2,200 INR. Now, I call it as a cost of acquisition of a very high quality lead. You will end up spending more than 5,000 Indian rupees, by the way. So I'm already saving about a good 2,200 rupees in this case. Now, as soon as I do that, I get on a call. I'm already a customer. He has to give me time. Simple. Now, once that happens, again, I'm going to start the conversation. I'm going to try to build some relationship with him and tell him that, hey, like, I've been selling this. Why don't we collaborate, right? Well, how about we do some sort of a collaboration? You move on my webinar software. I'll give it to you for free for a year, but you do all your webinars on my platform. Now, that's a no-brainer for a creator, because 1 year of free software, heck yeah, I'm going to take it at that stage, right? Because not only that, I'll be able to build some good relationship. And again, chances of them saying yes is very high, because you not only paid for their time in terms of buying their course, but at the same time, you also got their entire attention. And again, you're spending some time in building relationships, right? There's another hack that you can do before that. Do your own webinar, invite that person on your own software, right? And just give them more exposure. Again, it's okay if you don't have much audience, even they don't have much audience. Put that video up on your YouTube channel. Now that I've experienced the software by hand, that's the time to pitch them. That's the time you've given them experience, you have built a good relationship, and you have gotten the course. So you've done everything. So in 2,200 INR a year, you're getting a top quality audience. Now, a lot of their audience, right, who are gonna come, who are buying courses, might also as well be doing webinars, right? So now you get a lot of brand exposure. This is how you need to identify your leads, and this is how you need to get going. So again, for different products that is being built, you have to be smart in terms of your approach, in terms of the way you look out for leads, and in terms of how you're going to build relationship. You cannot go out there and just start performance marketing, start spending on LinkedIn ads, start spending on Google ads. You're just burning money at that stage. Be smart in terms of your approach. Don't just burn out your money. Trust me, you'll end up spending sometimes even 15,000-20,000 rupees to acquire one paying customer. So be smart, reduce that cost by being more creative out there. This is something I've done a lot. Even at PitchGround, many a times I just go and buy a course and tell them, hey, why don't you build a course around products on PitchGround? They do it, right? It costed me what, like $50-$60, and it ended up helping me build a lifetime relationship with someone. This is how you can be creative. Again, this is just one strategy that I shared. I have plenty more in my bag, but I'm going to keep it one for now.
But this is a good one, I'd say.
Yeah, I hope people are listening. If you guys are listening and liking it, just drop in like an emoji, like a fire emoji, so I would know that people are excited so far. or else I might start sharing less if I don't see like much of the activity.
Yes, people, please show some love.
If you guys are enjoying so far, just drop in and fire emoji.
So we'll take a small pause here. Till then, just setting up a background for, I'd say, the next half part. Udit, now we've very well covered, I think, about thinking and launching the idea in terms of like getting ready, really. I'd like to talk and cover more about, say, building up, especially you mentioned about no code tools, and would like to know your thoughts on the existing tools. Like, do you see them handy enough, or do you think still people need to build conventionally, or what are your thoughts about it? And then probably the launch marketing and even hosting your products on PitchGround. We'd like to know more about that.
So in case if you're now thinking to build a product, and if you're not a developer, and if you're not finding a developer or a CTO by any chance, go on bubble.io and just build your MVP yourself. They run a bootcamp for $750. By the way, I'm no way associated with them. They have an incredible solution. They have an incredible bootcamp. So just sign up for the bootcamp. It will probably cost you like $750. It's a bootcamp for 2 months, where one of the mentors over there will handhold and build your entire product along with you, basically. So you get a hands-on experience, and you will be able to build your dream MVP to begin with. But again, not many a times we might get that developer right away, right? Again, this is for people who are non-developers, so they can take this approach. So build an MVP along with your mentor over there. Once you have done that, go ahead and launch it. You can come on PitchGround, launch it, go on Product Hunt, launch it at as many places as possible, because you want as many users as possible in the initial stages, because you need that initial capital. Because if you're going to look for a CTO, high-class CTO, you're going to have to shell at least a minimum of 30-40 lakhs a month. That's the very least you'll have to shell out. Plus the equity is different, right? So that's the bare minimum that you'll have to do. But at least like it will validate, it will ensure that you don't have to worry about any sort of like architecture, stability. You don't have to worry about any of these issues, because the entire bubble is hosted on AWS architecture. So that's something that you can be rest assured that things will work properly. And then there are so many add-ons and APIs that are available today that makes everything a lot more easier for you when it comes to executing your product. So again, build that MVP, start selling more, and just keep on selling. Like I'm telling you, spend more time on selling than marketing or even building the product. The more MVPs that you can sell, the better. So go out there. There are probably like hundreds of different free sites. Get yourself listed on G2, then all the Gartner sites, Capterra, whatever sites you can find, right? You can just go ahead and start blasting them out. I think I have a list of 210 such sites out there, I think. So if anyone wants, they can reach out to me on Twitter. I can probably share it with them. So again, just list out everywhere. You will start getting at least 2,000-3,000 monthly visitors right away. And that's good enough for you to get started with. Build your website on WordPress. That's all you need. Get going with that. And then once you have done that, you will also get enough ideas validation. Now, if you are a developer, then I would say that you can take the same approach because building a product is a very time-consuming process. So again, go on Bubble. Don't spend your time building up the entire product. You will end up spending 6 months, 3 months building your MVP only to realize you've just wasted your entire 3 months, right? So because a developer might not be able to go through all of the ideation process, it might be a little difficult for them to sometimes speak with people. So again, do that. Or if you're able to find co-founders who are very good with sales and one is very good with tech, do that. So you have to sort of like figure out what approach you want to take. But again, today, every single approach is possible. You don't need to rely on just developer to begin with. A developer doesn't have to rely on just a salesperson to begin with. You can just get started and then get people along the journey, basically.
I love this one. Like, even if you're a developer, still you don't need to code. Because I think
the whole point is to save time.
Yes, true. But I'm just saying that by default, a developer starts thinking, okay, this is my role. I have to code now. Rest of the things we will see later. Yeah. So, okay, Udit. So, talking more about, let's say, building out. So, do you see any interim, like need of any interim releases that one should be doing, or once they have their MVP plan, say, sorted for the next 3 months, they should probably go with their head down just into building it out, and then come back again, surface out, and start? Or do you feel that it would also useful to still keep engaging and still keep finding new customers or new experiences, because every such experience may even derail your MVP plan. That's the downside I see. Like every time you would meet new people, you may think, okay, this is a new something I've learned. Now let me apply it to product. So, like, should someone be still engaged, taking surveys and learnings, or should someone, once he or she has done enough research, they should basically go back to the roots and just build it out for, say,
Always run surveys. Always run surveys. Always try to learn more, because we ran our survey of 2022 at PitchGround, and we were stunned to see some of the statistics. We were stunned to see the age group that is buying from us. Like, we were targeting a whole set of wrong groups on our ads, and right away, as soon as we completed the survey, we were like, wait, what? Like, we've been selling for 3.5 years, and the whole thing has flipped, changed. Like, we're seeing a lot of 50 plus people buying and coming and buying softwares, and it was very, very stunning to understand that, right? Because you keep on growing, you keep on acquiring different customers, right? So it's very important to run such surveys to learn more about your customers all the time, because the more you're able to learn about them, the better you can serve and the better you can replicate similar kind of customers. So always do that. Always engage with them. Try to keep learning. Again, don't commit on new features, right? Commit on providing what you have. Sell what you have. Don't sell your roadmap ever. Tell them, hey, it could come, it could not come. If the current problem is solving, your current solution is solving your problem, then buy. This is very critical for people in MVP, or else you would get pressurized to put features so rapidly that you would end up causing a lot of bugs into your system trying to push very fast. Another very important suggestion that I'll give to everyone whoever is building SaaS: never ever use Agile Model. It's probably the worst model for SaaS companies. I don't know why it's promoted so much, but it's the worst model a SaaS company can ever have, because it doesn't focus on stability. It focuses on fast and quick iteration, and you will end up building up a something known, what my CTO calls it as tech depth. You are basically accumulating depth in the form of tech by building rapidly and providing rapidly and building agile. Instead, go for a waterfall model. So what you need to do is focus on what you're going to build this entire quarter. Spend 2 months building all of that feature, and spend the last 1 month on your QA. Make sure that you test out very, 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 very exactly. You have 1 full month, because again, when you push something new, something old can break. So this gives you a month of entire time, and this is something that Agile creates a lot of problem with, because you push one small feature and update, your entire, like, something else can break, and again, your customers doesn't care. They're gonna be furious, frustrated, and might start abusing you, right? If they are really frustrated, if it's hurting their business. So you have to be very careful, and that's why do not fall for that all this agile trap that people are talking about. Oh my god, this is the best model. That's the worst model I have ever seen in my entire life. I'm telling you, as a developer myself, and then as a marketer on top of that. So never use that model. Stick with a quarterly releases, because that attains stability. That's slower pushes, but that's a lot of pushes at once. So your customers are going to be a lot more excited. Instead of keeping them excited and hooking them up all the time, push it every quarter once, or if you have a 6-month cycle, that's completely fine, because as you grow, that cycle will go from 3 months to 6 months, 6 months to 12 months, right? So someone like Zendesk, they pushes update, like, I think every 6 months to 9 months basically. So initially keep that quarterly, 2 months for development, 1 month for QA. That's it. Even your developers are going to test. That's it. And then make those changes that your QA is saying that, hey, this is not working, that is not working. Just do that. That's it. This is how you need to get going, and this is how you need to, like, focus on ensuring that you are meeting your client's expectation as well.
Okay, very nice, very nice. So, people, we are moving to the last part. I've opened the Q&A. So, I believe you must be having some questions as well to ask. So, go ahead, put in your questions, and we leave enough time towards the end to take as many questions. So go ahead. And Udit, last part to discuss is the release, launch, and basically once the pudding is ready, how to serve. So, what are your ideas, or again, some of the growth hacks, like you have been sharing nicely? Like, what are things that a founder can take?
So I would say, like, before deciding to launch your product on platforms, on marketplaces like PitchGround, try to acquire at least 25 to 30 customers. Because what's going to happen is when you go on marketplaces like us, and if you're not prepared, you're going to get burned out very badly with a lot of angry customers who never buy from you, right? So when you acquire those 30 customers, you would start seeing if there are any hiccups, pains, problems, bugs that comes out even after testing that get solved. So this is why ensure that before going on a marketplace like PitchGround, you are able to solve these problems. Again, when you get those 30 customers onboarded in a month or 2 months of time, you will also be able to understand what are their expectations in terms of support, in terms of scalability. A lot of other challenges and random issues will pop up. Solve that, and that's when you go ahead, come on a platform like PitchGround, and boom. If a solution is good, if the problem market is big enough, you would start acquiring thousands of customers through our platform right away. So that's how you can go ahead and prepare for the launch. But again, spend the time on ideation, get a very good product, and again, focus on a bigger problem set. Don't go niche, because if you're going to go niche, you're also going to have a niche customer. So when I say that, again, I'm going to give you an example. So if you're building a CRM for doctors, you're building such a niche product versus CRM for B2B businesses. Now, the B2B businesses can be anyone. So you would acquire, again, the competition is a lot higher, but then again, you don't want to niche yourself down, or else you will get into the trap of finding more and more and more doctors, and you will be stuck just dealing with them, right? So don't focus on that niche product ever. If you want to do that, just build a landing page. Done. Right? If your product can cater to more people, right? Market in a vertical angle with a single page, but don't just restrict yourself and build your entire copies, everything on your website just for that one individual. You will really suffer growth issues, and again, your sales cycle would be very terrible at that stage.
Okay, nice. And any Udit, any particular tools or anything to get to more volumes, like to basically give a nitro speed to your launch, I would say, or something like that?
No, there are no specific tools for it. Like, it really varies from SaaS to SaaS, approaches to approaches. That every single tech stack have to be really customized for the problem statement. So again, software is such a thing that it cannot be really generic at times. It has to be like a specific flow that one is following. So it's sort of like very difficult to like state something which might not work for someone but might work for someone.
Okay, cool enough. I think I'll stop here because, of course, there are definitely like a lot of things one can talk about the SaaS and probably go the whole night. But I think this is probably a lot of core we have covered, and in fact, thanks to you, Udit, for being so open and sharing all these very, very important things. I think just like you said at the start, we want to increase that percentage, of success. I think we've definitely increased a bit for the guys who are here. So I think everybody, you have any questions, the time would be now. You can definitely reach out to Udit. Udit, would Twitter, LinkedIn, or mail, what is best for you to reach out?
So LinkedIn and Twitter are the absolute best. I can put up my link if you want in the comments.
Sure. In fact, I would recommend everybody to follow Udit. He does really awesome content on LinkedIn and Twitter every day. I see a lot of very informative posts coming from his handle. So do follow him, guys. And again, if you have any questions, we have a few minutes here. If you'd like to ask, you can put in chat or the Q&A box, and we can take it. Okay, so I have one question from Arohi. How to find and target the precise customer base who are ready to buy MVP instead of asking for new features fitting their exact requirement.
So again, I think this is where I gave the example of how you need to start finding people based on what you're trying to sell. So if she can say what her SaaS is all about, if Arohi can mention what her SaaS is all about, I can be creative and give her some ideas in terms of what she can potentially do.
Adoy, I have allowed you to be in this panel now. Can you unmute and ask a question, or like more specifics from that?
Yes, sure. So can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Thanks for this opportunity, first of all. And about my product, so we have no-code platform, which is the field workflow automation platform. It has the form builder and workflow builder, so you can create your own enterprise-grade mobile applications using just a simple drag and drop. So it's a very generic product, as you mentioned, that we haven't targeted any niche area. So it can be for any business for their workflow automation. So, but the challenge that I'm facing currently is that all the leads, all the requirements that we get, it's mostly like, yeah, that's a good thing, but I also need this. Otherwise, it's like, I also want that. I want the new feature, or I want the report in this exact format, the way that we are working right now. So I'm facing that I'm having to include new features, or having to do some tweaks in the product for most of the conversions that I'm having to do. So I'm not sure how exactly to avoid that, or how exactly to get the people who are ready to buy what exactly I have, that this is what we can do with my product, and this will not be possible. So I don't know how to do that.
Thank you so much, Arohi. So just to summarize, you have built a SaaS that can help you create a mobile application, right?
Right.
Okay, so now that you have built a sort of solution out there, what you need to do is first of all identify the market where people are online but they don't have a mobile app. That's the first thing that you have to identify. Now, who are such people who are probably active, right? These are probably content creators to begin with. Now, if we further niche it down, YouTube users. So what you can do is you can start reaching out to creators. You can create a landing page that, hey, take your contents and build a mobile app so that you're more connected with your users. You're more connected with your audience. And this way, put up the problem statements that they have. Once you do that, reach out to all of these creators who are on YouTube. Now, what you can do is you can go on Fiverr and ask someone to scrape the email addresses of YouTube people. Now, the way you do that is when you go on someone's About Us section on YouTube, and once you do a reCAPTCHA, YouTube gives you an email address. Now, on Fiverr, or just get any sort of VA to go out there and extract those details from YouTube. Excuse me. The moment you do that, you'll have the emails, launch an email campaign. Now, make sure you don't do a mass email launch campaign with 100, 200 people. Just send out to 10, 15 people. See how they react to it, because you want to make sure you don't burn out all your leads, right? Now see what they see, how they react to it, what copies, how they're responding to it, right? And again, make sure that you sort of like do some A/B split testing with each your copy. And again, keep your copies very short, precise, and focus on their pain points. Their pain point is they want to retain their audience, right? So if I'm a creator, if I can create my mobile app and put all the users, like they can get access to my contents with just mobile app, and that can be a simple embedded video, but again, a simple app, that's perfect for me. Now do that and then start reaching out to them. You'll see the conversions are going to start happening. Now focus on this one vertical angle. Again, you're not building up a vertical company, just vertical angle of selling. There's a difference, because now that you have nailed down on this, now start building a team around it. A sales team would just focus on this. Now that you have a team who's focusing and scaling, it's time to open up the second channel, which is second kind of an audience, right? Now, who can this be second audience? It can be Shopify business owners or e-commerce business owners who needs mobile app, but Shopify doesn't provide them with mobile app. They are suffering. Now, if your mobile app can somehow, now when you also do this, you end up building similar features that everyone requires, instead of again focusing on horizontal scaling, because horizontal scaling would mean horizontal development at the same time. And instead of building a full-fledged solution, you'll keep on doing partial features. Now build an app where, let's say, you can probably add the entire Shopify store in your own app somehow, and then people are able to install that. Like one can just put them up on store, and easily using some APIs, the products will get pulled and everything. Again, how your solution is, I don't know, but I'm just giving you an example. Now that you have nailed it down and have a solution, start scraping people who are using Shopify. There are plenty of such scraping sites available that will give you the data, handhold data, who are using Shopify. Go out there and start an outreaching campaign. Again, keep it small and then scale up. Understand whether they're interested in buying or not. Once they understand the problem, start scaling up. I just gave you 2 examples. I think this should be good enough for you to get started. Again, start finding more of such things. And again, this is based on like what you have told me, but once I like get to know a bit more about the product, that will help. Or you can also launch on PitchGround. You can potentially, if your solution is really very good, you would end up getting like hundreds and thousands of business owners right away. That will help you to start building out communities and help you save at least like 2 years of your product growth time. So I hope that sort of gives you some idea of what you can potentially do.
Yes, it definitely does. That's great. Thanks so much, Udit.
Thank you.
Okay.
Guys, by the way, if you want to get on a call and ask me questions, do it right now, because I generally charge $1,000 an hour. So now you're getting it for free, so take advantage of that.
Right. So, anyone, last call? Till then, I'd like to share with you this news that I was very excited about. I shared with you at the start that at the end, I'm going to tell you very, very interesting things. So just like Udit has a vision to help SaaS companies be more successful, I too, yours truly also has a vision that I could help especially non-tech founders to be able to build technology companies. So what I did about it is I wrote a book about it, talking about the zero hiccup way to build a technology company. The book, I've been working on it in the last 2 years, and today we just opened it up for pre-booking. So if you would like to get a signed copy, and as well as a lot of growth hacks that go along with it that I have myself learned, you could book it today, and the book would be out in the next 4 weeks. So I'll just share quickly this link, and do check it out. I mean, just like a product owner, I think every writer also wants more and more people just could read their book. So, I would really appreciate if you could check it out as well as share it further, because I know you all are founders and you all understand like how much our own babies are, like a startup or books, are so much near to us. So would love if you could please share some love to it, and would really appreciate it.
Awesome. Also, we are running a SaaS community at the same time. I've dropped in the link in the chat, which is SaaS Council. It's a free community. We want more people to leverage on each other's network. So feel free to join that. Again, the link will expire in few hours. So make sure that you click on this link. I'm just going to share it again. Again, the whole idea is that you guys go. So we're trying our level best to build whatever we can to sort of help SaaS companies grow SaaS companies. That's the only mission I have for the next 40 years of my life, that I want to make sure that more and more SaaS companies succeed. And I'm building whatever tools, whatever platforms, whatever we can to solve this problem in a most efficient way. We're trying our level best.
Okay, I just got my tab open on the Discord. Yeah, just clicked on. So yeah, we'll all sign up, and looking forward to be in touch with it. As Udit has already shared his Twitter and LinkedIn, everything, guys, feel free to reach out. I think everybody's here to help each other. And thanks a ton again, Udit. Guys, if you want to say thanks, just drop in a boom or the emoticon or anything you'd like. And this should be enough. Thank you so much, everyone.